What if the person teaching your children math, grading their essays, and leading parent-teacher conferences was secretly living a double life as a cold-blooded killer?
In the quiet town of Brookville, Pennsylvania, the local high school was a symbol of pride and peace until a series of gruesome murders shattered the illusion. The trail of blood didn't lead to a stranger, a drifter, or a career criminal.
No, it led to someone everyone trusted, someone the community adored, a man who dedicated his life to education.
Or so they thought.
This is the chilling, true life story of Mr. David Collins, the beloved high school teacher who moonlighted as a calculating, remorseless murderer. As police peeled back the layers of his seemingly perfect life, they uncovered a monstrous secret buried beneath decades of
lies. David Collins was the kind of teacher students didn't just respect, they loved. Charismatic, patient, and always willing to stay after class to help a struggling teen. He was voted Teacher of the Year 3 years in a row at Brookville Central High.
But beneath that kind smile and tailored dress shirts, something dark festered. On September 14, 2023, 27-year-old Emily Harper was found murdered in her apartment.
The crime scene was brutal, multiple stab wounds, no signs of forced entry, and strange symbols drawn on the wall in red lipstick.
Police were baffled.
The only clue, a partial fingerprint on the doorknob. Emily had no known enemies, no history
of substance abuse, and was weeks away from starting her PhD. Her family was devastated, but as detectives dug deeper, another disturbing detail emerged. Emily had been one of Mr. Collins' students' daughter at first. The connection seemed coincidental. Brookville was a small town after all. But then, 2 more murders surfaced within 6 months. Jason Turner, 32, found strangled in his car, and Melissa Lamb, 25, discovered in a wooded area, bludgeoned and burned. They were all former students of David Collins. Detective Lena Morales, leading the investigation, noticed something no one else had. Each victim had filed complaints against someone in their recent past: stalking, harassment, strange calls, but none of them followed up.
All the reports mysteriously disappeared from police lurks. With a hunch, Morales began digging into school records, eventually uncovering something alarming. All 3 victims had once accused Mr. Collins of inappropriate behavior, but those reports gone.
Expunged, erased by the school's administration under the pretense of protecting the district's reputation. Morales confronted the school board, denials, stonewalling,
until one brave former administrator, now retired, came forward.
She admitted that complaints about Collins were routinely suppressed. Parents were discouraged from pursuing cases. Victims were offered counseling. Collins, meanwhile, received glowing performance reviews. Fueled by this revelation, Morales obtained a warrant for Collins' home.
What they found sent shockwaves through the entire state. Hidden behind a false wall in his basement was a private study lined with newspaper clippings, photographs of former students, and journal entries obsessing over specific individuals.
Detailed plans,
surveillance notes, even practice confession tapes recorded in Collins' voice, rehearsing alibis. In a locked drawer, trophies, a locket, a hairbrush, a blood-stained notebook. The double life was no longer theory, it was fact. The town of Brookville turned into a media circus as Mr. Collins was arrested during school hours.
Students watched in horror as their favorite teacher was let out in cuffs.
Some cried, others refused to believe it. At the station, Collins remained composed, calm, even polite. "I don't know what you think you found," he said with a half smile.
"But I've dedicated my life to education.
I'm a teacher, not a killer," but the evidence was irrefutable.
DNA matched to items found at each crime scene. Surveillance footage showing Collins' car near each victim's home. Even handwritten notes where he fantasized about finishing what he started in his journal. One entry stood out. "They think
they're smarter now, stronger.
But I remember when they were fragile, desperate for approval." It's poetic, really.
To end what I once began, what shocked everyone wasn't just that Collins had killed, but his motivations.
These weren't random acts of violence.
They were acts of control, punishment.
He targeted students who had
outgrown him, who had threatened to expose him,
who had become reminders of his own fractured ego during trial preparation. Prosecutors discovered a sealed juvenile record. Collins had been accused of assaulting a fellow camp counselor at 17.
But the case was dismissed due to lack of evidence.
That counselor,
later found dead under mysterious circumstances. It was ruled a drowning. When confronted with this, Collins snapped for the first time during interrogation. They were all liars, he hissed.
Ungrateful little liars. I gave them everything. I made them feel special, important, and this
is how they repay me. His psychological profile revealed narcissistic personality disorder with sociopathic traits.
He wasn't just a predator, he believed he was owed loyalty, admiration, and silence. But the twist came when an anonymous tip led police to a fourth, older cold case. Samantha Hargrove, a 29-year-old teacher's aide, murdered in 2011. She had been engaged to Collins when they exhumed her body. Forensic techs found traces of the same rare chemical compound present in one of Collins' trophies.
Her death had been ruled an accident. It wasn't. Collins didn't just kill students.
He killed anyone who threatened the illusion. The trial
of David Collins was broadcast across the nation. Former students testified.
Parents wept.
Survivors shared harrowing stories of manipulation and fear. In a shocking courtroom moment, Collins represented himself, calmly cross-examining victims with the same charming voice he once used in class. The audacity sent chills through the courtroom, but the evidence was a mountain. After 6 weeks of testimony, the jury deliberated for only 4 hours. Verdict: guilty on all counts. Sentence: 4 consecutive life sentences without parole. The courtroom
erupted in quiet sobs.
Closure.
Relief.
Justice. In her final statement, Detective Morales addressed the press. This case is a reminder that evil often wears a mask. Sometimes it smiles at our children and hands them homework.
But no matter how deep they hide, truth finds a way. Brookville Central High was shut down for a year, undergoing staff restructuring and a complete policy overhaul. Victims' families
received settlements. The state passed MLS law, requiring independent review boards for all misconduct claims in educational institutions. From Teacher of the Year to convicted serial murderer, David Collins became a symbol of betrayal.
His story isn't just about murder, it's about the systems that allowed him to thrive in plain sight.
It's about the voices that were silenced until they could no longer be ignored. But in the end, justice wasn't just served, it was demanded, fought for, and won by those brave enough to speak out.